Alright, well, this is my mpcnc that I've been talking about on the show. All kind of, it's not fully finished, but it is cutting, and it is actually cutting right now. There's a few things. I wanted to do this while I was cutting because then you can hear and I can show you some of the stuff. And, you know, and let's start with the motors have been changed out from what, you know, the NEMA 17s. These are now NEMA 23s. About 4 times the holding power of the 17s that that originally I did. And if you look, now you'll see where I've got the double rails here, and that adds so much stability in this. All I did was model this, put it into Fusion 360. I had to clean up some of the STL work, and then I just copied it, flipped it, bound them together, and cleaned out a little bit in there. And now I'm actually using a longer bolt just because I had longer bolts and I could. But it's not a huge deal. You know, you can still use the same bolts. Everything's the same setup, same tolerances as the original mpcnc, except for now it's a double rail system. You can see, I'll show you right here. You can see what I did for the rails. I've got, and I just duplicated this mount, brought it over here, and then these are the bearings and whatnot, and you got just a clamp on this side. I just took the SPL, cut the top off it, and made nothing major about it, but it had so much rigidity. And I'm actually running it kind of slow right now because I've been having problems with, well, I found that Mach 3 can handle adjusting for Z speeds and stuff to what your max settings are and whatnot, no matter what the codes it's sent say. But if you override it, it doesn't like to deal with it, and it was skipping when I went up to like 300%. It just, so then I just went into Fusion and changed it. When I ported it, changed my feed, and now it seems to be handling it much better. We'll see once it gets done. I'm doing some 3D cutting right now. It's more of just doing some 2D stuff, or it's 3D, but it's not arcing in the Z and X or Z and Y, and it's just pretty much straight line moves. That's just because of the way the model, the file I'm cutting was. But this is the quick attach mount that I've remodeled this now, and I'm going to go to a straight mounted right to the rails because there's just too much wobble in there when I cut harder woods, or I want to do some aluminum. It just doesn't seem to handle it very well. It vibrates in there. So I'm going to make it a solid mount. I thought I wanted to be able to quick attach stuff and whatnot, but I really don't. This is the primary use is going to be as a router. And yeah, you can see my spindle here. It's a water cooled spindle. I just love this spindle. That is super quiet. You can actually, hopefully, before I post this, I'll make sure you can hear me. But yeah. See, now I think my motor's heating up and it's getting funkiness, or am I getting dust? Or now you can hear that motor skipping. to find out why it's doing that. That's my Z-axis skipping there. It's more likely just grinding into my part. So I gotta stop that. Trying to just test some stuff here. And it's just all over the place here. I'm going to code here quickly and mark where I'm at. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that. It could be my motor heating up. These are older motors. I've had these for years. Let me turn off the spindle here. I don't mind. That's what we do, you know. It's build, break, learn. So I'm just trying to figure out why I'm skipping. I don't really know as of yet why it's doing it. I'll have to dig in. I gotta figure this out because I've got a few things that I want to make that require some 3D contouring, and you can see, I can show you where I was having my problems before. I was trying to, let's hope this will focus. Focus. Okay. Let's see here. Well, I'm trying to get it. I was doing some 3D contouring toolpaths in here, and it was having problems doing it on this way too. I've just been testing. This is just a piece of MDF and a model I made, and I'm just trying to see where I'm having the issues, why it's doing that. But that's not really why I'm doing the video right now. This is just kind of show you guys, if anybody's interested in what's going on, what I'm talking about. You can see the double rail system, all that. And this is the control. Get my stand out of there. Kind of a mess, but it's all in progress right now. The VFD, that's your controller for the spindle. That I would suggest, if anybody buys one, if you buy the Hung Wang or whatever it is, it'll have a little HY in the corner right about there, and those tend to be better. They look pretty similar, and they'll usually have the we'll have a potentiometer built into it. I just got one wired off here for now. I plan on cutting a hole in here and mounting it right on there. Because my control board doesn't do, it'll turn on the spindle, but it won't control the speed of the spindle. So I'm gonna work on that. Maybe have to get a different board or an attachment. I know they got USB plug-in ones that you can use. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that much. You got all the drivers are here. Those are the power drivers for the steppers. Lots of configurations, changing setups. You can set those. A couple different power sources, a 12 volt and 5 volt out of a computer. You know, just a computer power supply. And then the top one's 24 volt, or actually I think it's 24 to 36. It's adjustable. Power supply for the actual stepper motors, because when you go to the bigger stepper motors, you know, you need more power. There's some shitty fans and stuff, and there's a water cooler for the pumps in there and everything, submergible pump. And I just got some plastic sheeting around this thing right now to kind of catch some of the stuff. I do have a vacuum, just a cheap little vacuum suspended over it, and I want to put the vacuum system outside to kind of cut down on the noise inside, and then run a hose in for the vacuum. and then I would run it more, but it's loud, you know, shop vacs are loud. But if I could put it outside, then I don't really care. And I'm on an outside wall, it's my house, I can do whatever I want to it. But that's kind of all. And then I got my controller that I use for moving this thing around. I'm leaving the machine where it's at right now because I want to figure out what's going on with it. There's some checking, maybe I got some junk, or I'm riding my bearings or something aren't working correctly. It should handle this no problem. It may be that it's losing something in the program. I don't know. I gotta take a look at some things. I'm gonna try making a smaller file and running a smaller piece and see if it does it on the smaller piece. But I mean, it's 150,000 lines of code or something like that for this file. So maybe I'll have to split it into sections. Want to make a drawer front with a dragon. You can kind of see the rough out of it, but here nor there. That's coming. Yeah, my electrical mess looks like a fire hazard. And then I just got a computer hooked up to it running the Mach 3. And this program, I like the Mach 3. I've got another computer that I'm going to set up with Linux CNC. I know there's more in-depth control you can have over things that are going on your machine. And I like that, so it gets a little too in-depth sometimes for me though, but some of the guys are talking about some of the stuff I've made. This was cut on this machine prior to the upgrades, but you can kind of see the depths and stuff. This is a clock that I made for someone. There's some alterations I got to make on the clock if I make one again. It's for a friend. And then my shop's a mess. It's actually just a couple bedrooms that I don't use. But then I made this. Was the first clock I did, and me and my brother have a bar, so that's the name of our bar. But you can kind of see some of the engraving I did on this and whatnot, and the stain work. I just got to put the clock mechanism on that and get that put up in the bar. I got all my other little tools going on in here. Got a mini lathe, a couple other projects in the mix. My dog walking around. Got my 3D printer going. Neato, huh? That's actually printing the new mount for the spindle right now. So don't bother the mess. It's just a messy shop. I have 15,000 projects going on over there. Alright, well thanks guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you guys got any questions or anything you want me to talk about more on the show or less about it, I could understand that too. But I don't know, hope you enjoyed this. Tried to keep it short.